What's up, Facebook? We are having some technical difficulties at this moment, so yeah, I'm here alone today. My co-host Judah Hoover was not able to be on today. He had a scheduling conflict at the last minute, and we are waiting right now for one of our viewers, Taz Carney, Taz Journey, to dial in here. He's been having some connection issues, and if you're in Central PA, I don't know if you've been getting these alerts on your phone or not, but the weather is awful. Today we had planned to continue our talk on marketing, and things got a little bit crazy. Here's Taz. Let's see if we can rope him in here. Taz, how you doing, man?
Hey, I'm doing pretty good. How you doing?
There we go. Look at that. Just time. All right, man. Listen, nothing ever goes according to plan, and that's kind of the rule of the day, but that's cool.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, right. So we didn't even have a chance to go into the prep time because we were dealing with this technical stuff. But
yeah,
today we got some cool stuff that we want to talk about. I don't know about you. There's a lot of people that have that are interested in wholesaling. Wholesaling is a cool topic because a lot of times people look at it and it's like, oh, it's easy to get into. It's a good way to get my foot in the door, start buying some deals, doing some things there without having a lot of cash up front, and a lot of reasons. But for me, my experience with wholesaling was a little bit different in that it wasn't so easy. My first deal was like by accident, and then from there it was kind of a digging deep trying to find the next deal. So let's start with you. Like, Taz, you've been following our show for the last couple months, and I appreciate that. And we had a chance to talk yesterday about a deal that you're working on. And Judah called me this morning. He's like, "Hey, I can't make it today. What do you want to reschedule? We want to just push this off." It's like, no, man, it's a perfect opportunity. So here you are. So look,
appreciate it.
Yeah, I'm glad you're here. Let's start with you. Like, let's talk about you, like why you got into wholesaling, why you thought this was a good outlet for you, and we'll kind of go into what you're doing today.
I always wanted to get into real estate. I've always been very, very interested in it. Always liked working with my hands and things.
Okay.
During the COVID-19 situation here, I've been laid off. I'm an HVAC technician by trade.
Okay.
And I was brought back in for 3 weeks, and my boss actually owned a rental property that he was redoing. And during that 3 weeks, we were redoing that rental property, and I just kept thinking to myself, oh, man, I could do this, I could do this. And so, I got laid off again after 3 weeks of working, and I started just putting my head into maybe trying to figure out how to do some real estate. And, awesome. Here I am.
That's great. That's great. So, this has not been a real long journey for you. You're talking
no. No, it hasn't even been a couple of months. I've been doing this like for a month exactly.
All right. Okay. That's great. So we got real newbie here, right? Like, you still got the some of the wrapping on you. You got the new car smell. All right. Well, cool. All right. So let's start with. Tell me a little bit about what are you doing? All right. So actually, let's create a backdrop here. So you called me yesterday, right? And I don't want to get into details of this deal. I don't know if it's locked up or not. Okay. So Tim, we'll talk about that in just a second here. But let's talk about specifically. Like, you called me yesterday about this deal. Did you end up putting that thing under contract?
I didn't. Something I'm learning as a newbie, which I shared. I'm in another community. You got to move fast. Another investor. Another investor got to it before me, and he offered more money.
Yep.
And the actual person that referred it to me is a real estate agent, a friend of mine, and she is very, very scared to work with wholesalers, which is something I'm learning. The real estate agents are very afraid to work with wholesalers because of all the rules.
Yeah. Okay. So let's start there. Actually, let's give a backdrop of what happened yesterday. All right. So Taz gives me he reaches out to me on Facebook. He says, "Hey, look, I got this deal in Lancaster City. Here's the situation. The seller wants 15K. It's through a it's through a real estate agent. Seller wants 15K. I think the house is worth 135 when it's fixed up. You think I can sell this thing for 20,000?" So I said, "Hey, let me get back to my office. I'll sit down. We'll take a look at this property." So I come back. We get on the phone. I pull up comps of the property, and lo and behold, it's not worth 135,000. It's worth about 235,000. Right?
Yeah,
So, I think I said, like, hang up the phone, run out, and get this thing under contract as soon as you can. Right? Something like
yeah.
that. Yeah.
Hmm.
So, a lot of that, comes down to like really knowing what you're looking at. And a $15,000 acquisition price can be a little bit scary sometimes because, for a number of reasons, like 15K might be way too much in some neighborhoods.
Yeah.
Like 15,000 looks like a great, it's a cheap property, but it could be cheap because it's just junk, right?
Yeah, that's what I've been experiencing working around in Harrisburg. I did
Yeah,
Harrisburg one weekend, and everything there is just really cheap. But then when you look at what the houses sell for, which
yeah.
you taught me a new method, which now I'll use to maybe come up with something better. But yeah, when you see what they're selling for, they're not selling for much.
Exactly. And now this property, so anytime you're wholesaling a deal, there's two comps that you want to look at. There's two things that are important when you're looking at those comps. The first one is the ARV, obviously pretty straightforward. That's going to play in when you're calculating your offer price and things like that. But the more important number is the cash price. It's what investors are paying for the property. And as we research this thing, you're looking at a $15,000 deal, and the cash price, like the lowest price in the last year within a half mile from this place, is like 85 grand.
Yeah, yeah.
It was a really good deal. It was a really good deal. I got a question here from Timothy Tyndale. All right, so if you don't know, my name's Josh Weidman. I'm a hard money lender with Hard Money Bankers. We do private investment loans for real estate investors. Tim's asking, does your hard money program offer draws on rehab costs or reimbursements on rehab costs? So, Tim, if you are looking for a loan on an acquisition and construction project, we're going to put together a plan for that project together. And typically that's going to include a certain portion for the acquisition, a certain portion for the construction. If it's an acquisition and construction loan, we pay on draws as a reimbursement. So if you have $100,000 reno project and we break it into, let's say, 5 draws, the first draw, you're going to pay the contractors. Once that first 20,000 is done, we're going to go out and inspect it and then release the money to you. On a flip side, if you've got a property that you own free and clear, let's say, and you've got that same $100,000 renovation project, we may say, "I'm going to structure this on a refinance situation, and we're going to give you, 15 or 20,000 for that first draw, to pay for that, and then it's a reimbursement situation from that forward on the project." Sorry to interrupt here. I know
No,
we're
no,
kind
you're fine.
of off on a tangent. Okay, so let's talk about this deal. How the heck did you find it? How did you get started
Um,
to get this thing under your plate? Because I mean, look, it's so uncommon to find a deal like this,
mhm.
even if you're doing some serious marketing. To find something that's, you could. I think I told you, you put it out there at 55, probably take 40 for it. You're going to pocket $25,000 on this deal if you move quickly. Now, hey, it happens. It's out the door, but like those deals at a $200,000 price point, they don't always fall in your lap. So how'd you
Yeah.
find it?
Well, I had a friend who, like I said, is a licensed real estate agent here in Lancaster County.
Yep.
She had called me about possibly having a property. Well, let me back up a little bit. I
Yep.
I had talked to her about a week ago, 2 weeks ago. I went to her house and we talked, and I was getting into real estate. And I was just asking her some questions,
Yep.
comparing notes, and I've been asking her questions along the way here, and she kind of went off on me at first and was like, "Listen, I pay a lot of money, no offense, for my real estate license and my
Yeah.
broker and all that stuff, and
Yeah.
I'm not just going to give you information for free, you know." And I was like, no, I totally understand. Like, you know, I don't want any information for free. I'm just kind of asking you questions about how things work. Fast forward, she said, well, hey, how about you just come to my house and talk a little bit?
Well, let's give
Came
her
to
a
her
shout
house.
out, by the way. Let's give her a shout out. Let's give her
Oh,
a
her
shout.
name's
She's hooking you up, right? So,
her
what,
name is Luna Perez.
Luna?
I'm not, yep, Luna
Luna,
Perez.
yeah. Luna, listen, hey, if you need a house sold in Lancaster City, you got to call Luna, right? Like, he
Definitely,
is your agent. There we go.
definitely.
All
And
right.
she's been doing property management for years. So she was the first person I called when I knew that I was going to get into real estate.
Okay.
Yeah. So finally, we set up a meeting. Had been looking at a house in E-Town, and she said, "Listen, come over. I'll show you. I'll get it on the MLS, and we'll go over it."
Okay.
Well, I get over there. Come to find out, I had just as much information that she had without the MLS. And so she was really impressed by that.
That's great.
Yeah, and once she saw that, she was like, "Oh yeah, definitely willing to work with you." So
Okay.
fast forward to this week, she came to me. She said, "Hey, I know you're working with this real estate. I might have this property that I'm going to have, and it might be a really good deal for you." And she said, "I'll get in touch with you. You know, when I talk to the guy." Talked to the guy. She gave me the info on the property. I looked up everything, ran numbers, and that's when I called you just to double check because
Yeah.
she wanted to run back and make sure everything with him.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's where I was yesterday. After talking with you, I learned what I really had there. Got back to her, and she said that she has another investor that called to go look at it today, which he's going to lock it up today. I just spoke with her
Yeah.
a little bit ago. He's going to lock it up.
Yeah.
And but the she would have given it to me yesterday, but the thing is there are a lot of laws that I don't know about and
Okay.
that she doesn't know about because I'm finding out a lot of real estate agents and brokers don't know how wholesaling works.
Yep.
And so they're really scared because I talked to her for like an hour yesterday, and
Okay.
there's a lot of rules for the license.
All right. So let's start from the beginning here.
Mm-hmm.
I have a business partner. I mean, this is 25 years ago at this point, 20 years ago. I'm not that old. But this guy always said, if you're scared, get a dog. Don't be scared. We get some education. Everything's cool. Here, first and foremost, is wholesaling legal? Yes, 100% it's legal. Number two, are you acting as an agent without a license? Is that what she was asking? Is that what
Yeah,
she? No.
her thing was she can only transfer from licensed real estate agent to real estate agent. That's.
Okay, so that's not true. Here's the situation. Once you enter into a legally binding contract, into a contract with the seller, you have an equitable interest in the property. You are not selling the property. You are selling your equitable interest in the property. You're selling the contract to the end buyer. Okay. So that seems like semantics, but it's the law. Okay.
Yeah.
This is something that's become more and more common with in residential real estate, but it's something that's been common for a very long time in commercial real estate. Right. So just because you don't have a real estate license doesn't mean that you can't market to directly to sellers, B can't talk to agents, and C can't put properties under contract as the primary buyer in the transaction. As long as the contract gives you the right to transfer that that purchasability or that equitable interest, or it allows you to assign the contract to someone else, it's totally legal.
Yeah.
The important thing here is that some wholesalers try to be shady. Being shady is a great way to ruin your reputation, and it's a great way to give everybody in the industry a bad reputation.
A bad name. Yeah.
That's right. So here's the thing. Many sellers, I mean, look, if I've got a piece of property and I can sell this thing, I think I can sell it for $15,000, right? But you can sell it for $50,000. I'm probably not going to love the fact that you're going to make way more than I am on the transaction and I own the property, right?
Yeah. Yep.
That can be a problem, right? It can be a problem if the seller gets their nose bent out of joint, all that kind of stuff. But if you're able to develop a relationship with that seller or with that agent and give them what they want for the property, there shouldn't be an issue. There shouldn't be an issue. They said they want 15,000. Fine, I'll give you 15,000. Right?
Yeah.
That's on the flip side. Where I've had difficulty is when the buyer on the other side says, "Yeah, I love that property for $50,000." His profit margin at the end of the day is maybe 25 or 30,000, and he's putting in, $75,000 in renovation and all this kind of stuff. And he gets to the settlement table and looks at the settlement sheet and sees you're making 25 grand on that deal.
Yeah.
He'll be ticked off, right?
Yeah.
He's gonna be ticked off. An easy way to get around that, full disclosure. Like, look, you have a contract. Once it's under contract, you don't know how much you're going to make on that deal. And oftentimes you're going to have deposit. I would say put down a deposit on the property.
Yeah, earnest money.
Yeah, an earnest money deposit. If you are not able to sell that contract, you either have to buy it yourself or you're going to lose your deposit, right? That's your risk. On the flip side, if the buyer is okay at $50,000 or $40,000, whatever that end price is, just disclose it. Hey, listen, man, you're buying this property from me. You agree to 40 grand. Great. We got a deal. Hand them the contract. And on the contract, disclose $25,000 is going to be written to Taz Journey, is going to be on a line item on the HUD as an expense at settlement. If they have a problem with it, it's way better to find out about it when you're signing the agreement than it is when you get to the table and you've already cashed that check 10 times. You already spent half that money.
Yeah.
Like, I know, I've been there, I've had really experienced buyers freak out when they see I'm making $15,000 or $20,000 on a deal. Literally on their way to settlement, they see the HUD the morning of and they're going, oh my goodness, and that's when it opens the door for renegotiation. And you're at the last second, the seller's already on their way to settlement and you don't have a leg to stand on. Yeah. It helps you so much more if when you're signing that agreement with the seller, you disclose how much money you're making. And number two, you're getting a deposit on the property. That's a huge one. And not like $500, like minimal $5,000 in escrow at the title company. You don't get paid till it closes. That money is protected in a legal escrow. But man, that it can be tough, especially if you don't have the experience. So
yeah,
my first wholesale deal followed 3 rehabs that I lost my shirt on. I had 2 partners on and bought at the wrong time, paid too much, over improved the properties. It was a mess. So I had a guy that used to work for me as a salesman. He calls me up and he says, hey, look, man, I just got out of rehab. I haven't paid my mortgage in 6 months and I need to sell this thing. Well, he had the worst property in an amazing neighborhood, tons of equity. It was a great situation. I go to see it. I'm like, man, this is a banging deal. But I didn't want to buy it. I didn't have any, my cash was tied up. I didn't know what I was going to do. End up contracting it, put $1,000 down on the property, walk out the door, and I'm thinking, what the heck am I going to do with this? How am I going to fund this? Whatever. A friend of mine says, hey, you ever hear of this woman, Vina Jones-Cox? I'm like, who? He sends me this link. I bought this course for $1,000 on wholesaling. And, in the course of 3 weeks, end up flipping the thing and made $30,000. And I'm like, this I can do over and over. You
fell in love right there.
Yeah, I did. I love Vina. She is amazing. She's been around for a long time, and her course is it's not complex. It's real straightforward stuff. But all right. So you found this through an agent. Many agents are skittish about this. There's a couple ways to make it really comfortable for them, right? The first is a deposit. You got to put some money down. And if you don't have a lot of cash reserves and you're just getting started with this, well, first of all, it will help. You can always bring in a partner, friend or family member that has a couple $1,000 and say, hey, look, this is high risk. We might lose this deposit, but guess what? I'll split the profits with you in the first deal. And then you sock some money away after that first deal, You can also, a deposit's one thing. The other thing is when you're talking to the agent, you did a really smart thing. You said to the agent who was looking at a 3% commission, right? You said, hey, I'll split my profit with you on this. And it was going to be, you figured $5,000 split in two. Like, that's really smart. I mean, like, that gets her on your side, or him on your side as part of this deal. And it shows them that, like, you're not a pig. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know if you ever heard the saying, big pigs get slaughtered and little pigs get fed.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean, when there's enough money to go around, it's a really good situation. Next time this comes around, you do a deal and she makes 2,500. She's going to bring you the next banged up property with very few investors or very few people interested, especially in a retail end. You know, you're going to get first look from agents that see that. The first
now on her side,
what's that?
On her side, if I were to kick her back money on the back end of it, is that illegal? Or
so here's the thing: you can sign a fee agreement with the brokerage that says, I'm going to be reselling this and I'll split the arbitrage with you, or a flat rate fee. It just has to be paid to the brokerage. You can't pay her directly.
Gotcha.
You see what I mean? And likewise, you can't pay you a referral fee because you're not a licensed agent. So
Gotcha.
there are real laws there, but at the same time, like, there are ways around this that are legal and or ethical and all above board. If she's concerned that there might be a conflict of interest, well, have another agent at her office represent you in the transaction. She's the listing agent. They can be the buyer's agent, and you can work it out that way. There's a lot of ways to make this comfortable with the agents that you're working with. They are a really valuable resource. I mean, 95% of sales go through real estate agents. That is a gigantic number. Cutting that out of the equation, like, you're cutting out a lot of potential deals, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So incorporating good agents is really important. I mean, people start talking about this is illegal. I don't know if I should do this. I don't know if I can do this, all that kind of stuff. Slow down the conversation. That's the most important thing. When people don't know, when there's uncertainty, most of the time we have a tendency to just kind of write it off.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm just going to deal with this. It's outside of my wheelhouse. Okay, well, let's talk about what your concerns are first. And once you can address some of those concerns, it's not so scary after all. I mean, like, that uncertainty is what really causes the problem, not the actual transaction.
Yeah, it's kind of like you're your own worst enemy at times, especially when you're starting out something new.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, look, I had somebody call me on a loan yesterday. This guy got an unbelievable deal with seller financing 2 blocks from the beach. And I mean, it's like 40% of the value of the property. But he was looking for financing for the construction on the property. And I mean, like, I don't do a second lien position. Well, it took me a couple hours and him providing a bunch of information. I think we got a solution to get him funded, because he couldn't see the forest for the trees. He's got a bunch of other rental properties. He's got a flip that's coming up that's going on the market. He's got a bunch of other things going on that that aren't necessarily real straightforward things. And it would have been real easy for me to just say, yeah, I'm not interested. But because he had a good deal, there's a lot of things that you can get done if you got a good deal. So, like, that's the most important thing is if you're going to wholesale, the deal is the most important part. It is essential. I think you reached out to me, maybe a month ago, about a buyer's list, getting on a buyer's list and stuff like that.
Yeah. I was posting out there. I was trying to develop a buyer's list first.
Yep.
And then start getting deals.
Well, so here's one thing that gives people a bad name as wholesalers, right? They'll reach out to everybody that's in the business and say, hey, look, I've got some marketing going on. I got to get you on my buyer's list if you want to get these great deals. And they spend all this time developing this big database of potential buyers, but they never have a deal. And then because they've got this email list and they want to stay in front of people, they start grabbing other people's deals and throwing $5,000 on top. And before you know it, there's a daisy chain of deals out there. It's not a deal. And like, you're grabbing somebody else's deal who grabbed it from somebody else. Before you know it, it's marked up $30,000, And it's
Yeah.
like, what the heck is, I'm getting 3 different emails on the same property with 3 different prices. So like a lot of that comes down to like just find the great deals, and it's not easy at all. What other stuff have you done to find some properties?
Well, I had done a little bit of driving for dollars. I did that in
Yeah.
Harrisburg. I just drove by.
Yeah. What are you doing with driving for dollars? How are you working with that?
I just drive by around neighborhoods and look for houses that look empty or vacant or unkempt, I guess.
Yeah.
I'll write down the addresses and then get home and I will look up what I need to know, phone numbers of anybody I need to call, addresses of if I need to send a letter or anything. I haven't done any of that yet.
Okay.
But
well, so
it's all about building up the confidence though a little bit to feel like I know what I'm talking about to these people.
well, so what kind of phone numbers are you? How are you finding phone numbers?
I'm using truepeoplesearch.com, I think it is. And you can reverse search addresses. You can reverse search on names and area codes and stuff like that.
Okay.
And it'll bring up your numbers. It'll show you like the last 4 addresses or so that they had, stuff like that.
Okay. All right. That's great. If you so driving for dollars can be really effective. One of the biggest difficulties in finding phone numbers is that nobody wants people calling them anymore. I got a home phone with Xfinity. It's never been plugged in. Like I don't have, you know what I mean? Like I don't know how many people are like that. I got my cell phone and
we're the same way. We're the same way at my house. Me and my wife don't even plug in the landline unless we're going to fax something.
There you go. Exactly. So like sometimes those numbers, they can be unpredictable, unreliable. If you can look for companies that do skip tracing, or better yet, get direct to, get signed up with a skip trace company. It's a lot easier if you're an agent or if you have a private office that's not in your home. Because what they do is a skip trace. Like I used TLOXP, like it's through TransUnion, and so they'll come out and they do a site inspection and they'll look at your office. They'll make sure you have a locking filing cabinet and a shredder, and they got a checklist of things that they got to do. Costs a couple bucks, like $50 for the inspection or something like that. And then they'll charge you, a certain flat fee a month. I think it's $50 a month right now, and that includes maybe like, I don't know, 50 searches, whatever. But what these companies do is they aggregate data. And so you end up being able to get like the last 5 phone numbers that they've had or been associated with their name, and they're pulling the information from public record, from credit reports. So like that your bank and your credit card company, they have a real phone number for you, and that's kept in a database somewhere. So going through these skip trace companies, you can get real phone numbers. You can get a lot of times get email addresses, the last several people that have lived at the property address. And you can even do some more complex searches that are a little more expensive, where you can find like all of the relatives of that person, their contact information, and like it's like pulling a thread. You go down and down and down until you find something that works. I mean,
sorry, my phone's dying. I'm plugging it into my car charger here. Sorry about that.
Technical difficulties, man. Difficulties.
Yeah. I'm delivering for meals today.
Oh, that's awesome. Oh, we're losing you. Oh, well, hey, look, we're almost at a half hour here. I want to oh, there, you're back. You there? Okay, cool. I just, we're coming to the end here. We're getting at about a half hour. I just want to mention Tim Tyndall. Thanks for the comment. Every day we give away a book. I published a book in January called Property Hackers that I'm going to be mailing out to Tim. Tim, I'll reach out to you on Facebook and get your mailing address. But listen, if you guys enjoyed watching the show today, I want to encourage you to like it and share it. We love having eyeballs here. We're going to be on here tomorrow with Eric Brewer of Integrity Home Buyers. He's a really, really great resource. He does several hundred deals a year in York County. We're going to be talking about marketing with him and how to really build and develop your business. So, hey, thanks everybody for being on here. I'm going to jump off. We're just at 30 minutes. Looks like we lost Taz anyway. So anyway, thanks everybody. If you got any questions or comments or anything for the good of the cause, we'd love to hear back from you. We're looking for some topics for next week. So if you guys have any ideas of anything, any topics or anything that you'd like us to cover, let me know. And yeah, until then, stay out of the rain, stay out of some of the storms that are coming. And yeah, we'll see you tomorrow back here at noon. Take care. See you.